Hi friends. Well, summertime has more or less started to happen finally around here, and I'm off to a barbecue today, and I was asked to bring a side dish. And that's a great thing. I love barbecues, I love side dishes, I love like only having to be responsible for the side dish, but there are a few problems. Number one, I hate making potato salad. Okay, I just think it's way too much work. And number two, pasta salad isn't really a thing. Pasta salad's like sausage. If you knew what it took to make a really good tasting pasta salad, you would never eat it. So I need to think of something else to bring, and I thought back on a friend who used to rave about this one recipe I used to do, and so that's what I'm making today, and so you're going to get to learn how to make it with me. It's super easy. It is silky peppers today on JD Cooks. Silky peppers, here we come. First thing you need are 8 red bell peppers. If it's later in the summer and you can throw in a yellow and an orange and it's not too expensive, I wholeheartedly encourage you to do so, but the orange and yellow peppers at the market were, I think, 3 times the cost of the reds, and they didn't look very good. So we're just going to stick with red peppers today. You probably use green ones too, but I don't like green bell peppers, so this is better with the red. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut the pepper in half, straight through like that, and then you're going to cut each half into thirds. And be careful when you're cutting through the stem, because the stem can be a little tough and hard to cut through, but if you just balance yourself and your knife, you should be fine. The next thing you're going to want to do is get the core and the stems and the seeds out of the pieces. And the best tool for that is one of these. This is a grapefruit spoon. It's got a little pointy top and serrated sides on each side. I love these. I use these for actually like many things other than eating grapefruit. I don't eat grapefruit as a matter of habit, but I do have grapefruit spoons because I like to use them for things like this. They're great for getting the ribs out of the bell peppers. You just run the serrated side along the edge, and it just kind of picks up the white icky part and leaves the rest of it behind. It's perfect. So I have 8 of these peppers that I have to do all this with, and I threw some of the core and seeds into the bowl that is supposed to hold the peppers, so I have to clean that out now. And then we will see you over at the stove in just a few moments. All the peppers are done. I'm going to put the stove on to a medium heat to start with. And I'm going to put into a 12-inch skillet half a cup of balsamic vinegar, a tablespoon of a tablespoon of brown sugar, and a teaspoon of salt. And then I'm going to mix this together. I've got one of these. This is like a whisk that is safe for non-stick because it's all plastic or silicone or whatever. And I'm going to kind of get this mixed together. And I want this to be coming up to just the barest of simmers. That's what the recipe says. This is what I would call the barest of simmers. If you look really closely, you can see just a few little bubbles are starting. You don't want too much. Again, we're not trying to evaporate this down. But that's it. So in goes the peppers. Now, this is going to really fill up this pan. So, oops, and you might even lose a couple like I just did there. Everybody into the pot. Wow, that is a lot of peppers in the pot. That is too many peppers in the pot. Now these things happen, so one must always be prepared to swap out at the last moment, and that's what we're doing here. So we're going to swap out. See, this happens to people like me too. Okay. And we're going to put the peppers into a big stock pot with the same everything, because this will actually hold them. There's all those. And I just cleaned this, so I know this is, whoop, oh my, I really don't want to be in there. Okay, there we go. Now, there. so it might actually take a stock pot. So maybe you use only 6 of the peppers. So because I'm using a stock pot now instead of a frying pan, I'm actually going to put a lid on this, and this is going to cook now for 10 to 12 minutes. I'm going to come back after maybe 4 and stir them around since I'm using a different kind of pan. Too many red peppers for JD, but that's okay because I'm bringing them to a party, so I don't mind changing it up a little bit. But again, these things happen and we must be prepared. Let's see how we're doing here. So it's been 8 minutes and everything still looks very firm and not very cooked in here. And we're not cooking them all the way down. I'm using a pair of tongs to dig down and get the ones that are closer to the bottom of the pan and are cooking nicely, and getting them to kind of trade places with the ones on the top. Oh, like, see, that's good. I think that's what we want all of them to do right now. So see, you see this one here, it's still pretty firm. Not very floppy. This one, oh, look at that, bending right over. Nice and floppy. It's exactly what you want. It's been a total cooking time of 18 minutes, and I think all of my peppers are about as floppy as I want them to be. It's been 5 minutes of having the liquid over the high heat, and let's see here. Remember, we started off with 1.5 cups, most of which was from the peppers. If you think about it, I only put in 1/2 cup of balsamic vinegar. So the rest of all that liquid came out of the peppers. We have now reduced that to 3/4 cup. And yes, I did measure it before I put the camera back on, so I was technically cheating. Alright, so now I've got my 3/4 cup of leftover juices here. To that I'm going to add 1/4 cup of olive oil and a tablespoon of chopped fresh thyme. And here I have 2 tablespoons of parsley. I'm only going to put one of them in here for now, because the other one we will put on top. And then I'm going to get a fork, pardon me, get a fork, and we're going to stir all this together. And I'm going to pour this over peppers. Easy as that. Silky peppers. They need to sit for at least half an hour. You want them to come down to room temperature, and that also gives them a time to soak up that dressing that we poured all over it. They keep in the refrigerator just fine for a few days, so if you wanted to make them ahead, but just make sure they come back up to room temperature before you serve them. Remember, cold food sucks, except for ice cream. This recipe for the silky peppers comes out of In Julia's Kitchen with Master Chefs by Julia Child. It's not a current book, but you could definitely find a used copy of it, probably on Amazon or eBay or something like that. A great book to have, lots of interesting insight from professional chefs that were working with Julia for this particular book. And the recipe will also be up on jdcooks.com. So until next time, get out there and make yourself some silky peppers.